Well, hello, buddy. Welcome back to the show. I've got my new friend Dave, and Dave is one of my subscribers, and he was kind enough to reach out to me, and he's agreed to share a little bit of his story. So, you say you're from Ohio, just like I was.
Right, another Buckeye.
Another Buckeye, and so
It was a tough weekend a few weekends ago.
yeah. So, where did you go to school?
Actually, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona as a kid.
I love Arizona.
From the time I was 6 till 16, I grew up in Phoenix. Then we moved back to Ohio, where I was born, and lived in a small town in northeastern Ohio. And then eventually I went to Ohio State. And like I was telling you earlier, I graduated in 1970.
Wow. So you just missed the Vietnam War because they changed the draft back then?
I got lucky. I got a lucky lottery number. So I was on the edge of being drafted. And my thought process was, like I said, I didn't want to enlist for 4 years in Navy or Air Force.
Right.
So I was just waiting to be drafted, and then Nixon came out and said they changed the numbers, and I got lucky I didn't get drafted. I wasn't gonna, I was kind of opposed to the war.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to go to Canada or do something like that. So anyway, I got lucky.
I graduated in 1974, the war ended in 75, and I would have gone if I got drafted, but it just, I did have a lot of my friends, I'm sure you had more, they were same age as you that did get drafted.
Especially from my high school class in 66.
And a lot of them, the guys I knew, came back totally different people.
Yeah, I'm sure it would affect you a lot, especially if you were in the infantry.
Yeah. And so, you said you got into sales.
That was later on in the early 80s.
The early 80s, okay.
I had, like I said, before that, I was kind of working in apartment management and maintenance. And I would work, save up a bunch of money, and then go travel. Like I backpacked through South America, backpacked through Europe.
What was that like backpacking through South America? Was it dangerous?
No, it was.
How old were you in your 20s?
I was 25 or 6. I was in the library in Columbus one time. I was going through the stacks, and I'm in the travel section, and I pulled out this pamphlet. It wasn't a book, it was just a little pamphlet. And it said, from Mexico City to Santiago, Chile, by bus for 25 cents a day.
Wow.
And I said, well, I can afford that.
Oh, that's cheap. Wow.
So I took off. I went to Mexico, and then from Mexico just started, I traveled by bus, by plane, by riverboat, just hitchhiking, a little bit of everything.
You speak Spanish?
Well, I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, I think, and 4 quarters in college. No, 2 quarters in college.
So you had a little bit, yeah.
But I couldn't speak it worth a damn. It was just terrible. Well, anyway, and when I got to Guatemala, there's a town called Antigua, and I signed up for an intensive language course.
Oh.
So for 2 weeks, I just sat at a desk like this with an instructor, and we just spoke Spanish. And at the end of 2 weeks, I started getting the hang of it.
Really?
And then from there on, I kept going and speaking more. So by the end, I wouldn't say I was 100% fluent, maybe 70 or 80%.
You could get around, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference when you travel to speak the language.
Exactly.
A huge difference.
Yeah. I wish I got here. I can't learn this language.
I can't either. I can't even tell where one word ends and another one begins.
It's tough, yeah. The old brain just doesn't remember.
So you say you also hitchhiked in the Middle East?
Yeah, I did a little hitchhiking. Well, I did hitchhiking in South America, through Europe. I went to, with a girlfriend, I traveled through Europe. We went to England, and we hitchhiked through England, all through Ireland. And
did you have trouble getting rides? Or people willing to pick you up?
Mostly, it wasn't too much trouble.
Huh.
It was, the first ride in England was fantastic. Because I worked for the railroad while I was going to OSU.
Yeah.
It actually paid my way through college. I actually made money. It was amazing. But anyway, the first ride we had in England, coming out of London, going to the West Coast, was a train crew. They have a truck with a crew. These are guys that work on the tracks and repair them.
Yeah.
And there was this old fellow in there. He must have been 60. And he was all dressed in a coat and tie, but he was a laborer. He was just a cool, talk to them guys. They were cool. Well, anyway, we got a ride with them. And then we just kept hitchhiking.
Wow.
We got a lot of rides. Ireland, we got rained on a bunch, but we managed to get around.
You say you went to Egypt too?
I've been to Egypt, yeah. We did Egypt. You do the trains up and down the river.
Yeah.
And so we went all the way from Cairo to, what's that furthest town up there? It's been so long ago, I can't remember. It's where the falls are. And then we actually took a boat ride, a big boat with about 40 or 50 backpackers, campers on it, up to Abu Simbel, where the lake, and they moved these big monuments up onto the shore. So that was kind of fun.
And so, how long have you been coming to the Philippines?
Since 1987.
Wow, a long time.
So,
And you're married to a Filipina, right?
yeah, I got married in 2017.
2017. How'd you meet her?
Met her in Angeles, who's a waitress
Yeah.
in a restaurant. And so I was with her on and off for 2 years because I was working here, coming here for 6 months and working back in the States.
Yeah.
And then I fully retired 2016. And then we got married.
And how old are you again?
74.
Wow, you look great for 74.
I'm lucky.
Did
I
your mother?
I work out quite a bit.
Did your mother and father live to be old age?
My mother lived to be 86, and my father 79. My mother, she was a smoker.
How about you? You ever smoke?
Yeah.
Did you?
My first trip to Asia, I told you about my friend Henry Cook. We've been friends for 40 years. We came to Asia together. We came to Bangkok. After a heavy week of partying in Bangkok, we're out early one evening having dinner, maybe having a beer or two, and we're both just hacking like crazy. We made a bet that evening that we would stop smoking, and if I smoked, I had to give him $500. If he smoked, he had to give me $500. Well, we're both cheap bastards.
That's a really
There
good.
was no way that I was
That's
going
a
to give
great
him
way though
$500.
to put the pressure on yourself.
It worked. We've never smoked since.
And how old were you at the time?
I'd have been, 87? I'd have been 39.
Okay, so still a young man, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. You quit.
Yeah, so it was a great thing for both of us. So
Yeah, a lot of guys I know that are over here that are smokers, like they look so much older than the guys at the same age as they are that don't smoke. You know.
no, it definitely has an effect. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. No, anyway, I'm glad I quit smoking. Yeah.
And so, you live in Angeles City, you say?
Angeles City. Yeah.
And why'd you choose there?
Well, it's where I ended up, and like I say, I've been coming since '87. I started selling encyclopedias in 1982, and started out in Portland, Oregon. And like I said, that wasn't a good market, so my friend Henry and I, that's where I met Henry, selling encyclopedias. We went to Alaska. We lived there for 2 or 3 years. They were great, and it was encyclopedia heaven. We're selling them like crazy.
Even in the wintertime?
Oh yeah, all year round. It was great. It was really good. It was great. It was a great market. The demographics, people had money.
So you just knock on people's doors, cold calling?
No. There's other ways to do it. They actually had company leads.
Okay.
Remember the old Parade magazine? Sunday
Yeah.
Parade? They had advertisements, and then you'd send away for information. We'd get those. And we had fairs and other ways to do it. And so anyway, I worked in Alaska for 2 or 3 years, and then I went to Germany. And Encyclopedia Britannica had a division in Germany, and we just sold to the military. And we have 80,000 troops there or something.
Wow.
And so that was a really good market.
What was the commission like when you sold a set of?
It was 27%. So if
27%.
you sold a set for $1,000, you got 270. And we had packages up to over 2,000. So you could actually make 500 on one sale. And
Were you selling like one per day or 2 or 3 per week, or what was your
a few a week.
A few a week?
Sometimes you'd have special fairs, exhibits, where you could sell a lot more. So
When I was selling cars, there was a saying called a hat trick. It's when you sold 3 cars in one day.
oh yeah, right.
Did you ever sell 3 sets of encyclopedias in one day?
I probably did.
Yeah.
I can't even remember one. I'm
was a good
sure
day.
I did. Oh, I'm sure I did at some of the. Well, we went to Alaska and Britannica, because I'd worked at fairs down in the U.S. in Oregon and the Washington State Fair. And they set up a big booth. You invite people in, give them a spiel, and maybe sign them up. Well, it was hard. And anyway, we went to Alaska, and they had the Alaska State Fair. Well, Henry and I showed up at the Alaska, the booth, the first day. people were waiting in line to buy books.
Wow.
We couldn't believe it. We said, wow.
Wow.
We're some lucky campers.
Those days are over now. Everything's online,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. It was. I kind of stayed with it till the end. The end was 1995.
My parents had a couple sets of it. It weren't a full set. They had one full set. It wasn't Britannica though. But I remember as a little kid back in the early '60s. I used to love going through those books. Just flipping through them and reading them. You know, they're interesting.
When I decided to go into sales, I said I got to do something that's going to make a little more money, and I knew I'd still have freedom, so I could quit when I wanted to. Anyway, I said, what do I believe in? Well, one thing I do believe in is education.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of had a little attitude about I was going to help people get educated. You kind of lose that after a while. Why people buy books?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you know, you're obviously in really good shape for your age. Like, what are your tips on having a good, healthy senior years? Like things that you do to stay healthy?
I just hope just keep on going, and like I said, I do exercise a fair amount.
What kind of
I walk a lot.
Yeah, walking's good.
I walk a lot. I used to swim, but I don't swim too much anymore. But I have some exercise routines. I use those stretch bands.
Yeah.
I used to go to the gym a lot, but I quit going to the gym when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And I got enough exercises at home now.
Do you drink?
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
That's the other reason I exercise.
Yeah.
Take care of the bad habits. But,
One thing I've started asking a lot of the guys, especially the older men, is like, what's like the worst life-changing thing that's ever happened to you? Like the toughest thing you had to go through your whole life? Like a certain thing that really was, you know, really tough going through?
Oh, that's a hard one. Quitting smoking was hard. That's a hard one. I don't really have a quick answer.
You ever have anything bad happen to you though? Like, you know, big huge setback?
I have to admit, I've been pretty fortunate in life.
That's
I mean,
good.
there's been times I've been down and out. I had a couple bad breakups.
Yeah.
But no divorces. I was never married.
Yeah, you've never been married till your Filipino wife, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
She's your first wife. Yeah.
So I've never had any, you know, disasters. And I guess I've been pretty fortunate.
Well, how about this question then? Like, what's like one of the best things that's ever happened to your whole life? You know, and don't say getting married. 'Cause a lot of people say well, you're meeting my wife or having my son was born, whatever. But aside from something like that, what was one of the best things that ever happened to you that really, looking back on it, changed your whole life or made a big change in the direction you were going?
Well, I imagine the biggest influence on my life was going to college. I really got into learning.
What did you major in?
History.
Oh, interesting.
So
I love history.
I read. I don't read as much as I used to read a lot, but I don't read quite as much. I read a lot on the internet and all that stuff, but no, I like learning a lot.
Yeah.
I like learning. This world is fascinating.
It is.
You know, all the places you can go, the things you can learn, and I'm into finance and economics, and so I keep busy with all that. Between that and golf, I keep busy, and my friends in Angeles. Keep busy doing traveling, doing trips.
Now, do you plan on doing any traveling with your wife? You know, going to other countries?
We've done numerous trips. We've been to Vietnam, been to Thailand a few times. Come down here. We've been to Davao. We go up to she's from La Union, so we go up to La Union. And I've never been to Palawan yet, or El Nido.
I haven't been there either.
Think about going there sometime.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, we'll keep doing travel. Like I say, I'm young enough and in good enough shape. We can go around.
Do you think you'll ever take her to Europe or take her to America?
Well, like I said, the visa thing is kind of an obstacle. I can see eventually doing the American trip. She knows my family really well, and my sister and brother-in-law came here a few years ago. We traveled around.
What's the age difference between you two?
She's 35 and I'm 74. 74.
Okay.
So I said I came here to the Philippines the first time in 1987. It's the year she was born.
Wow.
So, but no, like I said, I met her when she would have been 29 when I met her.
So what is your reason for, you're obviously a successful man, educated man. What's your reason for not living in America instead of like, you know, why would you want to live in
Well,
another country?
a big thing for coming here is the cost.
Yeah, me too.
And can live here pretty well on my pension and everything. The other thing is, yeah, America is kind of sterile for me. You know, everybody lives in their own little community, their house, or, you know. I mean, I had friends there and go out and see people and go to bars, and I socialize a lot with my family.
Yeah.
And family and some of their friends and other friends. And but no, I kind of always knew I was going to live overseas. I was always attracted to go overseas. And I always liked third world countries. So it's just, you know, people don't get lonely here.
No. It's so easy to make, if you're an open
Exactly.
person, it's so easy to make friends here.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
easy.
yeah. So, and I'm not the most gregarious person in the world, but I do like to get out and about. So,
Well, that's
between
great.
that and golf. So anyway, here I am, another happy camper,
Well, thank you.
retired in the Philippines.
Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story. You know, really interesting, you know, and wish you the best of
great,
luck,
yeah.
and hope to get to see you again sometime.
Okay, I enjoy your blog. Keep it up.
Thank you
Keep
so
going.
much.
Okay. take
Thanks for
care.
watching, everybody. Thanks for subscribing, and appreciate if you share my videos on Facebook.